what's being counted.
I met
All
this guy and got his
across
autograph
Pennsylvania,
before.
clerks from our communities are making sure that
Back
these
when I was in high
ballots
school.
are counted. There's still a lot of vote left. This is way too early
Very
in the
good guy
process.
talking.
I anticipate throughout the day today, you're going to see significant numbers of votes being put into the system. So the public will be able to see those numbers change and rise and go up and down. The bottom line is we're going to make sure here in Pennsylvania that we respect the will of the people. We're going to get an accurate count. It's the law. The law says
This guy I'm
count
not
every
reading.
eligible vote, and that's exactly what's happening all across Pennsylvania right now.
You heard the president earlier this morning. He threatened to go to the Supreme Court to stop the counting.
Yeah, look, it doesn't work that way, George. The president doesn't count these votes. The clerks in our communities count these votes. These issues, the legal issues, have largely been settled, and now it is time to count these votes and make sure that the will of the people is heard. And so we're not going to let anything interfere with that process. We just need to have a little bit more patience, maybe a little bit more patience than my kids and your kids have. And we got to make sure that we get this right. The way we get it right is by making sure every eligible vote is counted.
The Supreme Court did step in earlier and say that any ballots postmarked by the close of business on Election Day could be counted up until Friday, as long as when they were received. But the Supreme Court could still invalidate that in later rulings, and the challenges are out there.
Well, George, the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania looked at that question and determined that ballots that were postmarked by Election Day and received up until Friday at 5 p.m. were valid and could be counted. On two separate occasions, petitioners asked the United States Supreme Court to step in and overturn that or stop that, invalidate it. And on two separate occasions, they didn't do that. There's a legal principle, I don't mean to nerd out on you this early in the morning, George, but there's a legal principle known as the Purcell Principle, which says that matters of state election law should be left to the states, and federal courts shouldn't meddle in that. Two separate occasions, the Supreme Court didn't step in. This should remain with the state, and the state says these ballots should be counted, and counties are full steam ahead on counting every eligible vote, and those are eligible votes.
And it could take days, but that is okay. We just have to go through the process. General, thanks for
Got to get it right, George.
Thanks for your time this morning. Michael?
All right, George, we're going to move now to Georgia. Biden hoping to turn this battleground state blue. The votes are still being counted there as well. And TJ Holmes joins us now from Atlanta with more. Good morning, TJ.
Hey, good morning to you, Strain. You called it a battleground state, and the battle could just be beginning. And let me explain why. After a relatively smooth day of voting, didn't see a lot of long lines or problems. Even some of the average wait times are 2 or 3 minutes around the state. But then came the night, and a few problems started popping up, in particular at State Farm Arena, where the Atlanta Hawks play. That's where a lot of ballots were being processed. Well, we got word that a pipe burst, and there was a mess that needed to be cleaned up. They had to move the workers out for several hours, caused a delay, and we got word that we wouldn't get the results last night from Fulton County. Why is Fulton County important? That is where Atlanta is. That is a Democratic stronghold. We're waiting on those results because with Biden about 100,000 votes behind Trump right now, if he can make up ground in Fulton County, he could get close enough to maybe even overcome and turn this red state blue. And I hate to even mention this now, Robin, but something else to keep in mind is that if the margin closes enough, within a half a percentage point, a candidate then has the option of, Robin, asking for a recount. Nobody wants to hear that.
I know who to ask about that. We're about to do that right now, TJ. Let's bring in Georgia's Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger. I know it has been a long, long night, early morning. Your workers, the poll workers, are working around the clock. Any idea when all the votes will be counted?
Oh, we're working hard on that. By midday,
It'd be funny if Trump asked for a recount.
Probably by the end of the day, we'll definitely have it done. Fulton County is a little bit behind, as you mentioned, due to the problem that they had at State Farm with the water.
And there were just that was one. There was just a few glitches in the state. In any way, does that compromise the count?
No, the count is secure. We're continuing to go through the process. As you mentioned also, we had yesterday an average of 2-minute wait times. We had a very successful election. Over 4.8 million Georgians voted, which is also a record turnout for a presidential election.
And I don't know if you heard TJ, he brought up the word recount. I know you haven't even completed the counting yet, but what do you think is the probability that there will be a recount?
Well, I don't get into probabilities. We just do the counting. At the end of the day, but any race that's within 0.5%, state rep, state senator, congressman, or the presidential race, the candidate could ask for that within 0.5%. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Wait and see. And is there anything you could say to our viewers? Because many were hoping that at this point we would wake up and we would know who the next president of the United States would be. As I said, working so hard. What can you say to people who are, you want them to be patient, but that's anything but for many people right now?
Well, yesterday, Georgia had a great day running an election. We had to recruit 52,000 new poll workers due to COVID. We had a new verifiable paper ballot system. Voters really liked the system because they had a verifiable paper ballot. People feel confident about the results. They may not like the results if they're rooting for one person versus the other, but they have that confidence. And then we're going to follow that up with our first statewide audit. So the elections will be audited, and that's very important. Risk money dollars can really verify the results and give voters that additional layer of confidence.
And you have given us confidence. Thank you, sir, very much. I know we have a long day, maybe a couple days ahead of you. We appreciate you taking time to be with us this morning. Take care.
Thank you, Robin.
All right, Michael.
Okay, coming up next, we have much more on this tight race. Our legal team is standing by to break down the potential challenges.